Do you wonder why some people never manage to save, no matter how much they earn? It's rarely about the paycheck. It's the belief that saving only counts once the amount is large enough to notice, so it gets spent and nothing is left. There is a simpler answer, older than any bank. Save something small and leave it untouched until opportunity or emergency calls for it. Consistency turns almost nothing into something enormous over time. Somewhere on a coastline, far from any paycheck, a man built his whole future on that rule. Listen closely. You can almost hear the sea. The waves sound the same in every land, in every year, long before banks or apps or a red number blinking in the dark. They broke against the same kind of sand at the same unhurried hour for a fisherman named Tane. Tane was not a wealthy man. His boat was old, patched more times than anyone in the village could count, and his family ate what the sea gave that day. No more, no less. But Tane had one habit, so small that most people never noticed it at all. Each evening, after he paid for rice, oil, and the mending his children's clothes always seemed to need, he opened his palm and looked at what remained. Almost nothing. A single shell coin, worth so little that most men let it fall through their fingers without even counting it. Tane did not let it fall. He walked instead to a flat gray stone behind his hut, lifted it, and dropped the coin into the clay jar buried beneath. Then he covered the stone again and went inside to eat what was left. 2 other men shaped how the village understood money. Duran fished beside him every morning, strong-armed and quick to laugh, and spent whatever the sea gave the moment it reached his hand. Old Seth, at the far end of the beach, buried far more than Tane ever touched, and let his own family go hungry to do it, calling the hunger wisdom. Then came the evening his son noticed. "Why does Duran's boy have new sandals, and I don't?" the boy asked, watching his father carry the coin toward the stone instead of the market stalls. Heat rose in Tane's chest. Not anger at the boy, but something closer to shame. The particular shame of a man who cannot explain in words a child will accept why enough is not yet enough. He almost skipped the jar that night, coin pressed into his fist, telling himself one missed evening would change nothing at all. But he knelt anyway, moved the stone, and let the coin fall in beside the others. Duran could not bear it, after a day of rope burns and salt-cracked skin, to feel the ache in his hands and not also feel some small pleasure to answer it. Drink in the evening, dice after that, a new hat before the old one was worn through. Old Seth carried a different ache, a fear from a lean year so frightening that he had decided no amount saved would ever be enough, even if it meant his own children went hungry to prove it. 2 more years passed this way, coin by coin, evening by evening, before the first storm came. It was not a large storm, only a hard wind that broke 3 boats along the shore, Tane's among them. While Duran waited on a moneylender who added more to the debt with every day he delayed, and while old Seth's family went without new nets because even now he could not bring himself to open the hoard, Tane lifted the stone behind his hut. The jar was heavier than he remembered. By the next morning, he had bought new planks, and within the week, he was back on the water, alone among the 3, while the others still waited on someone else's terms. Word moved along the beach the way water moves through sand, quietly, but everywhere. Some still called him foolish, a man burying shells no bigger than a fingernail. But something had changed in Tane himself. He no longer felt the old shame when he knelt at the stone.
he simply kept dropping the coin in, evening after evening, the way the tide keeps arriving, whether anyone is watching it or not.
Then, in Tane's 9th year of this habit, the real storm arrived. The kind the oldest fisherman said came once in a generation. It tore roofs from houses and dragged boats out past the reef as if they were leaves on a pond. By morning, the shore was a field of broken wood. Duran had nothing left to rebuild with, and no one left to borrow from, since every boat on the beach had been lost the same night. Old Seth had enough buried to rebuild 3 boats twice over, but the hoarding had become the only thing he knew how to do anymore, and he sat frozen beside his own fortune, unable to spend even now, when spending might have saved his neighbors. Tane knelt at the stone behind his hut, the one thing the storm had not touched, and lifted it for the last time. 9 years of evenings sat inside that jar. Not a fortune by the measure of a city, but enough. Enough for new planks and a new net for himself, and enough left beside that to help the 2 families who had lost the very most. Planks for Duran's boat and a full net for old Seth's sons, who had never once been given anything by their father's buried fortune. The whole village had watched a man bury shells for a decade and called it small. No one called it small anymore. If Tane had spent every coin like Duran, he would have owned nothing when the storm came. Only the memory of small comforts, already forgotten. Had he hoarded everything like old Seth, he might have owned much, and still lost the very thing that makes money worth having: the readiness to use it, to give it, to let it move. The Buddhist middle way never asks you to choose between denying yourself and drowning in desire. It asks for a narrower, steadier road. Take what the day truly requires, release what remains without force, and let time do the work your grip alone never could. So, do you still wonder why saving never seems to work for some people? By now, you already know it was never about the size of the paycheck. Somewhere on that same quiet coastline, an old jar still sits buried beneath a stone, holding 9 years of evenings inside it. Proof that persistence, not income, is what turns one small coin into a future. What is the smallest amount you could set aside today and leave it untouched until the day your own opportunity finally arrives?
Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining. Subscribe to join us for the next one.